We start this hour in the U.S. President Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Joe Biden have just wrapped up the first of 3 face-to-face debates. The Supreme Court, the economy, and the coronavirus pandemic were among the top issues during the 90-minute debate. Both Biden and Trump started off with measured tones, but the conversation quickly devolved, with both interrupting and accusing each other of lying. One of the most heated moments came when Trump defended his handling of the pandemic.
We got the gowns, we got the masks, we made the ventilators. You wouldn't have made ventilators, and now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they get sick. Far fewer people are dying. We've done a great job.
The president has no plan. He hasn't laid out anything. He knew all the way back in February how serious this crisis was. He knew it was a deadly disease. What did he do? He's on tape as acknowledging he knew it. He said he didn't tell us or give people a warning of it because he didn't want to panic the American people.
The two also clashed over racial discrimination and violence that has rocked the country in recent months. Biden criticized Trump's heavy-handed response, labeling the president a racist.
This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500 African Americans.
You go to very many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now.
Oh, my
but
Lord.
The reason is that
ridiculous.
the Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order.
Violent
and you
crime,
still haven't mentioned.
Are
you in favor of law and order?
Trump also defended himself over a recent New York Times story reporting he paid little federal income taxes. He also cast doubt on mail-in ballots and did not explicitly say he would refrain from declaring victory until results were independently verified. We will have more on this developing story in the next hour. The death toll from 3 days of heavy fighting between Azerbaijan and Armenia over disputed territory has reached 100, including 16 civilians. International mediation efforts are underway to seek a breakthrough in the situation. The fighting between the 2 former Soviet republics over the Nagorno-Karabakh region erupted on Sunday. The area lies in western Azerbaijan, but is mainly populated by ethnic Armenians. Russian President Vladimir Putin is urging a ceasefire. He spoke with Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan by telephone on Tuesday, their second such talk since the crisis unfolded. Russia has strong influence in the region. Putin expressed serious concerns over the situation and called for an immediate halt to the hostilities. Pashinyan claims Turkish troops in Azerbaijan have been leading the military operations. Turkey, another regional power, has expressed its willingness to fully support Azerbaijan. But Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev says Turkey is not a part of the conflict in any form and that there is no need for its involvement. Meanwhile, the UN Security Council called on Armenia and Azerbaijan to immediately halt the fighting and resume talks without preconditions. In a statement, the Council expressed concern over reports of large-scale military actions and expressed regret over the loss of life and the effects on the civilian population. The Council members also backed the UN Secretary General's earlier call to immediately stop the fighting. And they expressed full support for a central role for the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe in resolving the conflict. The Emir of Kuwait died on Tuesday at the age of 91. Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah was seen by many as a savvy mediator between rivals in the Middle East. He died in the U.S., where he'd been receiving treatment since July. He ruled the oil-producing nation from 2006 and was influential in diplomacy between regional powers such as Saudi Arabia and Iran. He helped mediate when Saudi Arabia and its allies cut off diplomatic ties with Qatar in 2017. The emir also pushed to develop public infrastructure, but that stalled amid lower oil prices and the coronavirus pandemic. He'll be succeeded by his 83-year-old half-brother, Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah. Japanese Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide and Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke by phone for the first time since Suga took office earlier this month. The two leaders reportedly agreed to continue strengthening ties on a broad range of issues. Suga and Putin spoke for about 20 minutes on Tuesday. They reportedly discussed the economy, the coronavirus, and efforts to reach a peace treaty. But after the talk, the two sides highlighted different parts of the conversation. Suga says he reaffirmed that President Putin and former Prime Minister Abe Shinzo agreed to accelerate negotiations towards a peace treaty based on a 1956 joint declaration. It states that 2 of 4 Russian-held islands would be handed over to Japan after a peace treaty is concluded. Japan claims the 4 islands, which it calls the Northern Territories. The Japanese government maintains the islands are an inherent part of Japan's territory. It says the islands were illegally occupied after World War II.
I propose resolving the issue of the Northern Territories with Russia instead of leaving it to the next generation.
Russia emphasized economic and healthcare cooperation, but did not specifically mention peace treaty negotiations. And prior to the phone call, Russia revealed that it had started annual military drills involving 1,500 soldiers on 2 of the islands. A senior official at Japan's foreign ministry told NHK that they immediately launched a protest with the Russian embassy in Tokyo. NHK has learned that the Japanese government will likely boost economic aid for remote inhabited islands close to the country's maritime borders. The government has specially designated 71 remote islands that should be kept inhabited to protect Japan's territorial waters and exclusive economic zones. Transportation fees for routes to the designated islands are set to be reduced. But those islands have been reeling from economic implications of the coronavirus, such as a decrease in tourists. In response, the government will likely expand subsidies to help boost tourism and employment. The measure could include building accommodations where people can telework and enjoy the island's allure on days off and after work. Another possible initiative is helping create travel packages that involve chartered flights to the islands. The Cabinet Office plans to include more than $57 million for the programs in its budget request for the fiscal year starting next April. The North Korean government is sticking to its position on the issue of Japanese abductees, saying it was resolved many years ago. The Foreign Ministry in Pyongyang published a statement on the matter hours after Japanese Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide met with the affected families. The statement criticized Suga for saying he intends to keep his predecessor's policies in place. It called those policies extreme and said they are aimed at isolating North Korea. The meeting was Suga's first with abductee families since he took office weeks ago. He pledged to use every opportunity to break the deadlock. The Japanese government says North Korean Asians kidnapped at least 17 Japanese citizens in the 1970s and 80s. Pyongyang repatriated 5 of them in 2002, but the rest remain unaccounted for. Japanese automakers had another tough month in August. Their production at home and abroad was down 12% from a year earlier. The output from 8 major firms totaled 1.86 million units. New car sales worldwide remain sluggish because of the coronavirus pandemic, but the year-on-year production drop is easing. The output in China is leading the recovery trend, partly due to government subsidies for buyers of new cars. One of Japan's largest drone exhibitions is underway near Tokyo, showcasing remote-controlled craft designed for a variety of roles. More than 100 organizations have brought their latest innovations to Japan Drone 2020 in Chiba. One is a drone jointly developed by a university and an architect's office. It can carry a person and has successfully transported 100 kilograms of payload in a test flight. The developers are aiming to use it at disaster sites. Another drone developed by a Tokyo-based startup is designed for use in fishing. It sails under wind power while detecting schools of fish by radar.
Drone technology is becoming more widespread. I think it will be used to automate or to create unmanned systems for sectors that currently depend on manpower.
The exhibition runs through Wednesday. Let's check out the world weather with our meteorologist Tsietsi Monare. So Tsietsi, people in the western United States have seen a record number of wildfires this year. They are still dealing with it. But how much longer do you think they can survive this?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them to move on further because of the damage it has caused in terms of the amount of money for the vineyards, the habitat loss for animals and people's property. We saw over 7,000 structures. That includes buildings and people's homes getting burned out through these fires, and it doesn't look like things are going to get better anytime soon, except though that the high pressure system that we're seeing along the northern parts, northwestern parts of the United States is getting a little bit weaker, so there could be some relief for Northern California, but maybe not so much for Southern California. We're still going to see hot weather dominating those regions and possibilities of more fires developing over the next couple of days, so people are urged to take all necessary precautions to stay safe at all times. And then on the opposite hand, we're seeing some cooler weather towards the coast of the east, and also heavy rainfall is expected going all the way up north towards New England. The showers will spread all the way down into places such as Florida, so do expect some showers right from Washington spreading all the way down through Virginia and parts of Miami. Your temperatures are still quite hot towards the western side. LA 36 degrees and sunny and dry weather still sort of continuing there into Wednesday evening, so please do make sure you are ready for what's coming your way there. Denver slightly cooler but still going to be sunny and dry, and then a little bit of moisture developing towards the eastern side. Speaking of the east, we'll go all the way towards the far east. For Asia, we've seen development of a lot of rainfall towards Southeast Asia. Places such as Laos, Thailand, and even Vietnam is receiving a lot of rainfall. Some low pressure systems towards the northern part of China, also leading to temperatures slightly dropping for Ulaanbaatar. We will be seeing a little bit of moisture and rainy weather developing towards Taiwan and also into Hong Kong, but dry weather for Beijing and for all those that are going to be in Shanghai. Tokyo will reach a maximum of 25 degrees, and in fact for the next 5 days or so it is going to remain quite stable. There is a big dip though for Thursday at 21 and wet weather coming your way, but nice warm and dry weather is coming up towards Fukuoka. We're seeing upper 20s for the next few days or so. Osaka will be raining for your Wednesday, but will get dry again by Thursday. That's all your weather. Have a great day.